Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today, we are going to be talking about Casper Network, aka CSPR. We are going to be addressing Quant and talking about some other things as well happening around crypto. Ultimately speaking, the major focus of this video will be smart cities and what's actually happening around the world, especially as we do look at this next generation technology. And let's go all the way back to 2018 when we first started to see the rise of smart cities and blockchain. When you see four countries where AI and DLT exist hand in hand, this was Dubai, the US, China, and Europe. And at that time, we did see the concern over, things around decentralization, centralization. But for the major thing to really kind of focus on is what smart cities really are. It's ultimately speaking, it's what we have now, except underpinned by automation, blockchain, and really kind of just bringing in AI as well. I mean, overall, there's a lot of concerns within this, and I do completely understand it. As we look at China and their, social credit scores and things like that, there's a lot of problems, right? That's also why I say like decentralization and decentralized networks that underpin this are going to be crucial, especially if you are looking at the infrastructure that these will be built upon. And as we do look here, right, like the smart city concept integrates big data and the Internet of Things to optimize the efficiency of urban processes and services and connect to residents. But again, even in this, they were talking more so about this dystopian type of future where we could be looking at full control of everyday life. But even then, there was a lot of discussions around what could be happening over the next couple of years. McKinsey actually predicted that by 2020, the number of smart cities will reach 600 worldwide, and 5 years later, almost 60% of the world's GDP will be produced in them. Digital technologies could become the engine of economic progress, and blockchain, without a doubt, could be one of them. And as we do fast forward to 2021, like here's smart cities are the future, but they might threaten privacy. And this is where they talk about the dystopian side effects. And they did, of course, know a few areas around this. One of the biggest ones, like I said, is China with their social credit score system. There's a lot of problems around that. There's a lot of concerns with their CBDC projects as well. China, I would argue, is kind of very dystopian at this point in time. A lot of people believe that that is going to be happening within the US and almost every single area around the world. I'm not too sure if that is going to be the case unless they introduce, full-on privacy technology that only they can control in terms of the government. I personally would like to look at these smart cities at sort of area of focus on decentralization. Like I want decentralization to be a crucial piece of this. I want it to be the pillar that they are built upon, because then we can kind of trust it, right? Like there is still some control there for even the ones that are living within these smart cities, if you will. And I think that that's where this article kind of went into, because the next post that we got from October around smart cities was talking about successful smart cities will be impossible without decentralized techs, because this could very well be the foundational layer that helps, alleviate a lot of the pain points that we have been looking at in terms of like control and these social credit scores and things like that. So as we do look at this, I do think that decentralization is 100% crucial. But these smart cities are on the rise. They're happening. They've utilized many events to really kind of push this narrative. And I think that we're already kind of starting to see a major push on this. I think that we start to kind of see it back in 2020, and just as of recent, we start to really kind of see this becoming a prominent thing to focus on. And also even during 2021, I did mention this early on in the channel when we were really kind of talking about this. This is FTPOS with Hedera. They revealed plans to power Australian smart cities with blockchain technology. And the best part about this is that we do know that Hedera is, they're privacy preserving, they're a decentralized project. So as we do look at that, that's not too bad of an idea, but they did have some ambitious plans, especially in terms of like blockchain powered autonomous vehicles and even smart cities within Australia around Hedera. So very interesting. Now, of course, a few touchy subjects that a lot of people will look at is the idea of digital identity and even transactions, so that we can securely support payments and other transaction clubs in the Australian digital ecosystem. And it's all like really heavily focused on a digital identity. Again, as we really kind of look at this, a lot of people want to look at it in terms of dystopian and say, oh, it's going to be fully controlled. They're going to control everyday life. I want you guys to understand that, a lot of what we really kind of fear is already here. They can control your payments. They could look at any, payment that you made, any transaction. It's very easy for them. Now, of course, why am I bringing all of this up? Well, it's, pretty simple, right? As we go over to Casper, specifically under their use case section, we know two of them, Chengdu chain and also their use for government. The Chengdu chain one is very interesting. So this is smart cities are building on Casper. How Casper Labs created an open permission-based blockchain network for the city of Chengdu, China. I'm sure that you guys are all aware of this. If you're not, then this might be new. Here's their bold ambition. The vision of China's blockchain-based services network, BSN, is to bring low-cost, efficient, and flexible blockchain development environments to government departments, businesses, and developers. BSN asked Casper Labs to create an adaptation of Casper that would meet very specific local needs. And we do see a quote from the CEO at Red Date Technology and director at BSN Development Association. We are excited to bring the Casper network into the Chinese market as a permission chain. Developers and companies will soon be able to access Casper technology through BSN to deploy their applications. We will also initiate a trilateral partnership between Chengdu City, BSN, and the Casper team to set the stage for Chengdu chain for business opportunities in China. And of course, you do see the challenges down there and then also how they helped. Again, as we really kind of look at this, I do believe that Casper is really kind of catering to a lot of the needs of these major entities. And I do think that this one is very interesting. Over here, we've seen a little bit of a report on this. We've seen the key highlights. BSN can become the AWS of blockchain, of course, with the help of Casper. Asia will leapfrog cloud computing for blockchain. Again, another big thing in terms of the infrastructure around this. Expecting a form of BSN in the West as well. I would be surprised if a Western government at some point doesn't try to do a similar initiative. Casper brings a patent database to BSN. Things that require digital uniqueness, well, what would that be? A patent, the license to a song, the license to a video. And we all know that when we look at Casper around patents, they are a big game changer around that type of technology. So yeah, I do think that Casper with the BSN is a huge one to look over. And then obviously you have Casper for government as well. Governmental use cases around Casper kind of play into the idea of smart cities because, again, this is really kind of focused heavily on what type of use cases can be created for government use. And we even see their bold ambition. Progressive governments around the world increasingly believe that blockchain offers tremendous opportunities to improve the efficiency of government operations and create new services for citizens. But prime ministers and chief ministers of states do not typically have experts in new technology on staff. That's why government officials and policymakers are reaching out to the Casper Labs professional services team to be their trusted guide through uncharted territory. Now, with all of this information, I do want to take a step over here to Tokenizer's thread talking about the cities of tomorrow. This is a very substantial thread. By the way, if you guys are not following Tokenizer over on Twitter and or even on YouTube, I highly suggest that you guys do so. He's not monetized over on Twitter, so if we can go over and support him over on Twitter and make sure that he does get monetized because he definitely deserves it, that will be greatly appreciated because, guys, the amount of content that this guy puts out is insane, and the quality behind it is also insane as well. But he did talk about this Welcome to Cities of Tomorrow, where he does talk about Casper and QNT and how they are rebuilding the cities for tomorrow. There's so much information within this. I can't go over all of it. Obviously, this video will be like 40 minutes long if I did. But he is talking about BSN and how this is essentially China's R3 and Corda. It does talk about the services offered and how, in terms of the two versions of BSN, you kind of have to go with the BSN DDC if you are working within China and the other supported regions that they've enabled, because it is actually illegal to utilize crypto and even crypto platforms within BSN Spartan, which is the one that's offered outside globally of China. But you might be asking, but Casper's a public chain. How are they in a DDC? This is the Open Consortium chain, by the way. And it's not just Casper that's being utilized for smart cities on DDC. There's other ones as well, like EOS and even Ethereum. And what they have done is fork these networks for an open permission to model, think LAC chain. In fact, BSN has been working to digitize multiple cities in China. And here you guys have all of them. Chengdu is the one with, of course, Casper. They utilize these platforms paired with BSN's DDC through their open permission public blockchain adapter, OPB, sorry. While LAC Chain has built new economic infrastructure over top of them, BSN smart city applications take a different approach by bringing the established giants into the ecosystem. As the BSN ecosystem is already connected with some of the largest tech infrastructures in China, seamlessly connecting them to BSN's foundational use cases make it a seamless onboarding phase. But with the digitization of any city, compliance with the public sector is a must, especially in the public sector-driven economy like China's. These next parts took me quite a lot of digging and Google Translate into the depths of China's blockchain operations. And the images above the Chengdu government website, we see they had put out a public initiative to explore blockchain utilities. This was on October 27th, 2022, just about 55 days before Chengdu chain was deployed. Don't mind the strange wording, Google Translate, and here you guys have it. Through 2023, they worked on the creation of, and I'm not even going to try to translate this, but it's okay because he did. This simply translates to Chengdu Construction National Blockchain Application Pilot Policy. In simple terms, the goal is to have a framework in which blockchain initiatives can be used for economic purposes at the national level. That's right, through all these DLT developments, like we are seeing major pushes happen on the subject of, guess what? Smart cities, utilizing DLT and blockchain. While 90% of developed nations are just trying to figure out a regulatory framework, EU with MiCA, US finding where to start, China has already moved on to the integration phase. Like they are the ones moving very fast. This is also why I say, like, as we look at Casper technically has a first mover advantage, very similar to like XDC, because trade finance just got fully digitized with the electronic trade bill going fully live. It does go into effect in September. But China's moving pretty quickly. It's pretty clear that the blockchain framework that the Chengdu government is referencing is regarding Casper and the BSN's collaboration. Given that, they're building the blockchain infrastructure to onboard the Chengdu economy on-chain. As we can see in the graphics above, this initiative has been recognized by China's National Development and Reform Commission. Odds are because of the public/private overlap in the smart city developments in China. Industry standards are a must. In our previous China breakdown, we discussed their standardization institutions on ISO TC307, which is the standard for blockchain and DLT, which is created by Quant's CEO. Every smart city created with BSN DDC likely follows the same frameworks to comply with China's national standards. Additionally, we've seen Casper cross-permission swaps with IBM and Hyperledger follow the SATP model for interoperability across different systems. The OPB solution plays directly in line with this to create a hybrid ecosystem between individuals, governments, and enterprises. But ultimately speaking, to summarize a lot of this up, like a lot of these initiatives are going to be leveraging IPWE as well, which is a Casper partner, which we already know about. They utilize the same exact model that we just discussed of cross-permission swaps used in IBM Weaver and Hyperledger Fabric demos at Davos 2022. Could BSN also be adopting the same framework and building out their version of IPWE? Questionable. This would be quite an exciting feat, as up to 80% of blockchain patents have all been from China. With so many smart cities developing China, the goal for them to interconnect every smart city into a greater China network/ledger seems like the route they'll be going. The concept of smart cities is without doubt one of the most innovating concepts of our time. Seeing blockchain at the forefront of this exciting development speaks volumes on future utility. And again, like as we look at what's happening, like we are seeing a convergence of the full-on public world with the digital world. This is happening in real time, and it's all through the Internet of Things, AI, DLT, blockchain, you name it. And this is also why I say, like, everything around you eventually will be digitized and tokenized. It's moving extremely fast. I want to give it another shout out to Tokenizer, just in case you guys did not get the value behind this. Like, this is truly something revolutionary. And again, like a lot of these major projects, like Casper, for an example, like nobody cares about Casper. That's just me being honest with you guys. Like nobody cares about Casper right now. And it's wild to me because this initiative is one of the biggest ones. I know that when this first came out, like we were talking about it back in 2021, I get it's not new. I want you guys to understand, like this has been a topic that's been getting discussed since 2018. And There's a lot of concern in China with the dystopian future around control and stuff. But I do think that players like Casper and even, these decentralized technologies can be very beneficial. And I think that as we look at the future, especially around like every single major nation that's trying to become crypto heavy, with a full focus on becoming a crypto hub, I think that they will also be pushed towards the idea of smart cities, because everything around us is being disrupted at a rapid pace. They're looking at ways to implement this technology. Standardization, regulations, they're all being talked about. They already are being planned by the end of 2025. So in my opinion, over the course of the next 2 to 4 years, things around the space are going to look extremely different. As we look at Casper, I do think that Casper is going to be an integral part of enterprise grade adoption, which ultimately leads to mass adoption. So with that being said, I hope that you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on. With that being said, guys, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this world. That's been Nick. Peace out, guys.